It's a Friday night, and we are getting lit on Game Day Nation. Thank you so much for joining us. Yaw Bonsu with you alongside the pigskin professor Mike Jewell, former Bowser head coach Mike Robb. It's hard to believe we're already in week 5, but Mike Robb, when you pull back the curtain of the 2025 season, what does it reveal to you?
Balance. I feel like I see a lot of balance here in Northwest Ohio when I'm looking at these teams so far.
Mike Jewell, it was a year ago. You were sitting in that very chair, and you said week 5 was all about figuring out who your playmakers are and getting them the ball. So I ask you, when you look at the games we have tonight, who are the guys that no matter what need to have the ball in their hands?
It's no mystery to anybody. With St. Francis, you're looking at Eli Beal, you're looking at Jaden Houston, running through the freshman quarterback, and then St. John's, I think Harshman's crucial.
Let's get into the 6 games we have on our schedule tonight, highlighted by our game of the week, St. John's and St. Francis. It is the Holy War. We also have De La Salle taking on Central Catholic. We have Findlay at Fremont Ross, the 103rd meeting between those two teams. We also have Rossford and Lake. Only 12 miles separate Rossford and Lake. And then we have Norwalk at Edison, Bellevue at Perkins, Findlay at Fremont Ross. It is a loaded slate, but let's talk about Central Catholic real quick before we get to our game of the week. Let's bring it back to the desk. There seems to be this intrinsic belief, not only from the people sitting at this desk, but multiple people at BCSN, that Central Catholic at 1-3 somehow is still a top team in our area. If the postseason began today, you can make the argument that the Fighting Irish wouldn't make the 12-team field. But Mike Robb, what tells you that the Fighting Irish are going to turn it around and beat a Central Catholic team we all know they can be?
Ryan Brown's defense. That's the one thing that I know.
Yes.
He's got guys like Jeremiah Fuller on that defensive side of the football and on the offensive side.
All right, let's get to the keys to the game for our game of the week, the Holy War between St. Francis and St. John's. Mike Robb, thinking back to last year, running back Eli Beal had nearly 200 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns against the Titans. What can St. John's do to slow down the rushing attack of St. Francis today?
Well, you know what they got to do is they got to be able to maintain the ball and possess the ball themselves.
Yes.
So they got to be able to get first downs, converting those third downs and mediums.
Mike Jewell, you mentioned Sam Harshman. How important is it going to be for the Titans to control the clock against a high-powered, quick-to-score St. Francis offense?
Mike Robb is absolutely right. I mean, they are so dangerous with football, with the weapons the Knights have. Your best defense in a game like this, not all the time, your best defense becomes your offense, moving chains.
Finley running for 200 yards in back-to-back games and picking up right where it left off last week. You're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson, a better way to a better window. We'll be right back. We'll look at the homecoming court here. Were you guys ever named to the homecoming court?
I think Mike Robb was.
Mike Robb? I know you were probably.
I was University of
Yeah,
Toledo.
University.
Homecoming king.
Okay.
Back in the day, though, a long time ago.
Okay. All righty, you're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson, featuring a former homecoming king. A better way to a better window. We'll be right back. You want to see the personification of Game Day Nation? It is literally us tossing to a game and then that game also taking a break. So why not we take a break as well? You're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson, featuring former homecoming king Mike Robinson. A better way to a better window. We'll be right back. Ali Beydoun, a rushing touchdown to give Central Catholic a 28-0 lead. You like the celebration, Mike Robb? Take me to it.
Hey, everybody's doing it. Maybe we can do it too.
And Mike Jewell, you got to love Ali Beydoun finally using his legs at the end of that half to get the Fighting Irish a score.
Yeah, Mike Robb said it all night. That zone read, it's there. So give it to that guy, tuck it out, and then pull it in your belly and get down there and great blocks. They picked up a nice job by Willie Johnson there to get them into the end zone.
All righty, if you're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson, a better way to a better window. Give me one, Mike Jewell. Give me one, Mike Jewell. We'll be right back. We got great action going on all over Northwest Ohio. Our very own Nicole Weaving has been up and down Sylvania. Right now, she's at Cat Stadium. Napoleon leading Northview 22-6. Nicole, you got an update on a big-time matchup.
That I do, Yaw. But for now, Yaw, I'll send it back to you.
Man, it feels like everybody woke up today and said, we're going to run the ball and we're going to do it in dominant fashion. Thank you, Nicole, very much. You're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson, a better way to a better window. We'll be right back. It is halftime of our game of the week. The Holy War, St. John's leading St. Francis 21-14. The Titans scoring 21 unanswered points in that first half. We caught up with St. Francis head coach Josh Linke. Yep, and one more before we toss to the other scores in the area. Remember, guys, St. Francis is starting a freshman quarterback, KJ Collins-Walker, but he struggled with the blitz in the first half. If you are head coach Joe Horn, what more can you do to really throw him off his motion and potentially have St. Francis replace him at QB?
Well, if he get replaced that quarterback, you're going to probably try to do something that Finley's doing. You got great athletes out there from Eli Bill, you got Pillarelli, you got Jaden Houston.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other scores across Northwest Ohio and beyond. Of course, we talked about our game of the week, St. John's leading St. Francis 21-14. Central Catholic, the Fighting Irish, dominating, up 28-0. But then the score I want you guys to pay attention to, Findlay 35-0 over Fremont Ross. The Trojans are looking like one of those teams that are going to rise up in your top 10. Meanwhile, Lake over Rossford 14-0. You have Edison and Norwalk in a shootout. Perkins over Bellevue. One score that stands out to you, Professor.
I'll jump on yours for a little bit. I think Findlay absolutely. I expected them to come out and play well and get a W tonight.
Lake also led at half against Evergreen in week 3, but ended up losing that matchup. The Flyers looking for their first win of the season. You're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. We'll be right back. Lake may be 0-4, but it's an offense that is averaging 31 points per game this season, up 28-7 over Rossford. You're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. We'll be right back. I think life is better when the Holy War is as eventful as it is here, Mike Jewell.
Okay.
I don't like life.
I struggle with nicknames like that, but yes, that's okay.
That's what people are calling it. That's what people are calling it.
The real Holy War is Ignatius versus Ed.
That's exactly what our Nicole Weaving told me. She said, that's the real Holy War. So can we call this the Toledo Holy War?
Yeah, Holy Toledo.
Holy Toledo sounds good.
That sounds great.
Yeah, the Holy War, he makes me think about St. Ed's and Ignatius.
Copyrighted. But Mike Jewell mentioned that he wants to see a run-pass option, Coy Hammock getting involved, quarterback keep.
Yeah.
But how would you defend that, Mike Rowe?
Oh, right now, you just got to be disciplined in those situations. You're going to probably play man on the outside, so you got to make sure you got inside leverage to be able to rob that slant route. But you also got to be gap sound on the inside because they've been finding lanes in there to run.
Can we give Joe Horn Coach of the Year right now?
No.
Can we just give it to him? What a ballsy call on 4th and 2 to potentially clinch this game for the Titans. I know you guys said you wouldn't have gone for it on 4th and 2, but Mike Jewell, what a call for St. John's and Coach Horn.
You got it to one of your studs. Cooper Binkowski is the defensive leader and can run with aggression and make things happen. It's well-schooled, well-executed, ball game over. Congratulations.
Man, we got a lot to talk about in this game of the week. It's looking like St. John's is going to wind the clock down, take it 29-21. A lot to like on both sides, but Mike Jewell, the Titans just came in today, determined, even when it got down early. St. John just came with all the juice at the end of the day.
When they got down early, that's when they really kind of toughened it up front. They were getting beat up front, and then they took the ball game over for those last 3.5 quarters. Just a beautiful performance.
Big time win for St. John's tonight, 29-21 over St. Francis. We're going to break it down on the other side of the break. You're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Game Day Nation. Yaw Bonsu with you alongside the pigskin professor Mike Jewell, former Bowser head coach Mike Robb. Let's get into some top 10s. I feel like tonight kind of shifted top 10s more than any other week this season. Mike Jewell, you're up first.
Things are starting to firm up. Yeah, I think you absolutely got it. But the one thing that has stayed at the top, Central Catholic now 2-3. How about that? But hey, rock solid. Take care of business win tonight.
You just said show me.
Go get
Central Catholic is 2-3. What exactly have the Fighting Irish showed you to make them number one? Wait. I know they're 2-3. Big win tonight. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Walsh Jesuit is an absolute power in the state of Ohio. Detroit Catholic Central might be the team in Michigan, and Central played them toe-to-toe, got after it. Let's just, you got to trust the analysts right here, Yaw, and see where Central Catholic is in week 14.
I was listening to the BCSN podcast, and Mason Lowry, Brandon Carnes, they were talking about how Central Catholic is going to get right on track, but Justin stopped them and said, well, you got to win games. You don't get points, playoff points for losing. If your 3 toughest games, you go 0-3, what does that say about you as a team? That you beat the teams you're supposed to beat and you can't beat the tougher challenges in your region?
Well,
it's weeks 1, 2, and 3. So it's your first 3 weeks of the season. You get that. You take care of business. Let's just Let's just
see how the chips fall.
Okay,
for a month
you
or so,
you guys
and then
already
we'll see where
you guys
things
are
go.
the experts. I'm just throwing in an alternative out there because you did say show me, and we're waiting for Central Catholic to show us. The Fighting Irish did
showed
that
me.
tonight.
They've
But I'm
shown
just
me.
saying. I'm just saying. Mike Robb, your top 10, please.
Well, I'm gonna show you mine. Central Catholic, number one, no question. Again, there's not many teams around here in that top 5 that will play Central Catholic in a regular season game.
Man, St. John's at number 6 brings joy to my heart. I'm telling you, Joe Horn, that's a Coach of the Year candidate right
Are they
there.
gonna be Central Catholic?
You know, they're going to have a
got
couple
them- you got
games
the-
this upcoming
yeah, they
week,
got some-
Yaw.
they got some
They got
games.
some games coming up. We'll see.
Make sure you clip
let's
this
see.
back there.
Man,
Coach of the Year.
Coach Horn, if you're watching, don't listen. I got you. I got you. Right? Your play calling is fantastic. You got it done tonight. Big rivalry
What do
in
the
the
kids call
Holy
that,
War.
glazing? What they call that, glazing? One win and we glazing like that? I mean, you're talking
great
about
point.
Central Catholic not good enough to be number 1 because of who they play. Dempsey should be Coach of the Year. I don't know.
Glazing. You're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. I'll keep talking about Joe Horn for the rest of the show. We'll be right back. Preston Frizzell leading Central Catholic to a 35-6 win over De La Salle. Now, Preston Frizzell is listed as a tight end, but you can kind of view him as a gadget guy. He can play all over the field. What dynamic does he give the Central Catholic offense, Mike Robb?
I mean, he's an X factor. You know, they talked about Central Catholic and their love for tight ends. You know, you can go all the way back to 2012 when they had Keith Tobridge, who ended up playing.
Mangus, the quarterback from Central Catholic, went on to Kentucky, where they converted him to a tight end. And those two were absolutely among the nation's best.
Let me write that down. That's my history lesson. That's my history lesson for today. That's why we call him the pigskin professor.
absolutely.
If you couldn't
D.
tell.
Mastek.
Absolutely.
What, you saw D. Mastek, you would not forget him.
Man.
He's one of Toledo's best.
Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame, they're getting a dog in Preston Frizzell. You're watching Game Day Nation, presented by Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. We're talking more ball after the break. Hey, we want some Brandon Carr.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. Brandon Cards here in studio. I swear, this is my favorite segment of Game Day Nation. I swear. How are you, sir?
Life with everybody's life, you know. Everybody get to have some fun after everything that's happened all night. That's what I'm here for.
I must say, no offense to anyone else, but you come with the finest suits. I must say. I like the dark blue tie. Matches the
Shucks.
blazer.
Listen, I saw Francis get dressed up a couple weeks ago on Sidekicks. I figured I had to
Oh
follow
yeah, that's
suit.
how you plug something right there.
Yeah,
there
see?
we go. What you
It's
got
almost
for us
like
this
I
week?
see all these and post them or something like that. So we saw maybe.
Oh yeah, big time. And I feel like this is a bigger lesson, I guess, for me and everybody, because I've been in newsrooms, I've interned in newsrooms, I've worked at summer camps, I've worked retail. The best cultures that I've been a part of, it starts at the top, as Mike Robb said. You have leaders that empower and leaders that are competitive and want to win. I mean, what does winning look like at a summer camp? Is putting a smile on kids' faces every day when they go on the bus to go home. So you see it with Joe Horn, especially after tonight, a big rivalry win. He's competitive, he got it done. And look, culture is huge. Culture is huge. And it starts with great leaders empowering the people that they are leading every day.
I want to know some guys that you guys have looked at so far this season that are saying, hey, somebody get on some college coaches on the horn, because we got some guys that might need some recruiting higher up.
Please
I know
don't
Mike
steal
Robb
my
loves
answer.
this.
Please don't steal my answer.
Now worried about his answer. Everybody stop looking at each other's answer sheets, fill in your own bubbles.
Let me write mine down.
Mike, I know Mike Robb knows
I
all
got
the
mine
recruits,
written down.
so let's hit and roll.
Give me Sean Hines from
Yeah,
Finley.
We didn't
Sonny.
get the guy.
Running threats do not get the love they deserve at Finley. Why? Because when you have quarterbacks like Landon Eckleberry, Ryan Montgomery, you're going to have an air raid offense that is not too much dominant on the ground. But remember, this is a Finley team that is averaging 182 rushing yards per game coming into week
culture.
5.
There
And
it
Sean
is.
Hines, he's leading the
the
team
key.
in rushing coming into week 5. He is such a phenomenal threat because he's not a running back. He's a wide receiver. So not only can he be here, your X receiver, not only can he line up in the slot, but you can put him in the backfield. And as we see with college football nowadays, coaches love guys that can play all over, that can be gadget guys, that can get it done in multiple different situations. And Sean Hines does that for Finley.
And that Perrysburg offense is, well, buzzing. I'll use that.
Finley
Nailed
scored
it.
one, by the way.
Because they're Yellow Jackets, guys. at home,
Buzzing,
everybody.
it's
Yeah,
lit,
see.
turned up, cooking, glazing.
Hashtag SSOTW. We got them all over here. Send us.
Now, the conversation is going to be the Titans getting a big rivalry win over the Knights, but remember, St. Francis was up 14-0. St. John's ends up coming back. What does that say about the resiliency of this Titans team, Mike Jewell?
It means that they are coached in more than X's and O's.
Yes.
But there's a grit and there's a determination, and that's fueled by senior leadership.